artificial intelligence has become a digital frontier that will have a profound impact on the world. It will have immense technological, economic, and social consequences and will transform the way humans work, live, produce, and even distribute goods and services. Although it is too early to say, it is clear that AI will also affect traditional intellectual property concepts. Hello everyone, welcome back to Analytics Insight podcast. This is Priya Dialani, your host for today. So commercial AI generated music and AI created inventions are not so far, and it is expected that it will define the concepts of the composer, author, or an inventor. But how that will happen is not clear yet. To make some things clear today with us we have Mr. Sumit Prasad, Chief Innovation Officer and Group Manager at Sagacious IP. Hi Sumit, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Hi Priya. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you with us today. So let's start with knowing more about the company, what exactly Sagacious IP is. Are there any specializations or any services, particular services that you guys offer?
Well, Sagacious is, as you said, we are operating in IP space. We are one of the largest IP strategy consulting firm with more than 300 IP strategists. We have a global presence. We have offices located in 10 different locations across 6 countries. So far, we have serviced more than 2,000 customers who range from Fortune 500s to SMEs to startups, mainly unicorns who are innovation savvy. Also including institutions, research organizations, and individual inventors who seek support in terms of IP management. With the big corporates, we help them lead the innovation in the industry. With the smaller ones, smaller companies, smaller corporate companies, we help them run a successful corporate grade IP division within their budgets. For IP law firms, which is a major section of our customer base, we help and support them with technology research, paralegal services, and tools to provide their customers a more optimized solution. We help patent owners manage, maintain, and monetize their IP assets when the time comes. We have also partnered with the government and non-government institutions for promoting and commercializing their innovations. So we have an end-to-end service wagon wheel, and we are currently being one of the largest provider of IP research services by serving global IP community for over a decade now. We have developed the knowledge, the best practices, and IP tool framework on a variety of topics pertaining to IP space. Sagacious is powered by a technically brilliant talent pool of patent professionals, having diverse technology expertise, including ICT, which stands for Information and Communication Technology, engineering, automobile, life sciences, chemistry, and several other tech domains, including the help of state-of-the-art tools that we have developed in-house. Sagacious patent professionals are trained in US, European, and other IP jurisdiction laws and have multilingual expertise, including Asian languages like China, Japan, and Korea. So this is kind of a service industry where we have been working for past 13 years to be precise, and we have developed different services that can help our customers reach their end goal of managing innovation successfully and efficiently.
Quite a comprehensive brief about the company, and it seems quite interesting to know about how technology and intellectual property goes hand in hand, and how it can impact the future as well as the present scenario of different innovations and inventions that we are witnessing today. So earlier I mentioned about artificial intelligence in the world of intellectual property, but I think the presence of this technology in this particular industry has raised some very interesting questions and debates. Now, the patentability of AI-related inventions, proprietary issues of inventorship, and the lack of adequate regulations and standards have left some open-ended questions. So, AI-related inventions generally use techniques like machine learning, deep learning, and neural networks. So, having said that, we would really want to know about your role in the company and how has been your journey till date with the company.
Well, I come from engineering background and so far I have a diverse experience of over 8 years in consulting clients on IP research and monetizing strategies. Talking about my background, prior to joining Sagacious, I have worked with the IP teams at Gravy Research, at United Lex Corporation, and for past 5 years in Sagacious, I'm leading a team of highly skilled analysts in ICT domain, obviously, to set up the innovation processes and provide end-to-end IP solutions with actionable insights. Along with the ICT vertical, I'm also leading the IT for IP initiative, and that's where your thoughts and your concerns would be addressed more, Priya. That this IT for IP initiative at Sagacious has uh, this initiative has actually allowed me to leverage the IP experience that I have accumulated and create algorithms using the technologies like AI, ML, natural language processing, natural language generation, automation, and all these technologies to develop tools that can help solve problems in this IP industry. Under this mission, we have already helped Sagacious in automating some of the in-house IP processes and in the process developed some in-house tools for enhancing the efficiency and better interaction of ours with the client. We now aim to develop more custom tools that are focused on this niche IP industry because the problems are very specific, and we want to develop those tools that can cater to the IP industry and IP fraternity as a whole.
Definitely. I think with your background, I think Sagacious IP has able to leverage your experience and your talent in a specific industry that we are talking about. Um, Now, further, if you want to understand the possibility of patentability of AI-related inventions, one needs to recognize that an AI-related invention is not a single invention, but it's a combination of several other inventions and technologies. So it could be probably a computational or a mathematical method or an algorithm or probably a combination of both. So it is questionable if it is even possible to capture these combinations in a claim, or will that reduce the scope of protection? So we would want to know what are your views on the role of IT in intellectual property, and how is your company contributing to the IT and intellectual property space?
Talking about the question that you raised, whether AI can be regarded as an inventor or whether AI can contribute in filing or generation of patents, that's still a very big debate, and it involves a lot of influence from the government side and the regulation side, where the patent laws can allow AI machine to be granted as an inventor, and things are not yet clear, and it's, as you said, it's really debatable that whether AI would be regarded as an inventor or not. There are already a mixed reaction from the IP community from different parts of the world. US has its own say European laws have their different narrative about this. But if we talk about IT in IP, I mean IT technologies in IP, and if we talk about how these AI related technologies are helping IP industry at present, well, if we talk about that in a scenario, I'm really excited to know and to share that the role of IT in IP has transformed the way IP processes used to happen in the companies and also in PTOs, patent offices. I believe the key to the next generation of IP practices is through adoption of AI and automation related technologies. We have started referring it as IP tech, I mean tech in IP, and this is where the IT for IP initiatives, Sagacious IT for IP initiatives comes into picture. With development and advancements in the IT industry, various software solutions have come up to ease the manual and effort intensive tasks that are associated with any IP process. This with the IT technologies, it is helping IP professionals focus more on the strategy part of it rather than doing the mundane, repetitive work that used to be done by humans, which can be easily automated by IP. Since these IT technologies, sorry, IP is no more a paper-based industry, as we have witnessed that we have already in last 2 decades we have digitalized most of our IP knowledge, and since this is no more a paper-based industry, so we want to leverage the benefits of these AI-based technologies to expedite and manage the processes and the data in the best way possible. Recently, IP industry has also shown a very rapid adoption of these new technologies, which we are talking about AI, automation, and even blockchain has seen a lot of adoption to further use this technology to its advantage. So, if I have to say that where Sagacious IT for IP program helps under this program we provide a hybrid mix of IT solutions and exclusively AI-driven tools for IP law departments, IP practitioners, and business intelligence units, because those are our end customers who will be using this data. And in last 2 years, I, along with my team, have supported a lot of a lot of our service global customers to adapt these technologies as well as build those subscription-based products to help customers save time, cost on these various efforts. We believe that with this surpassed IP knowledge and domain authority that we have created a balanced capability to help companies translate from their current phase of IP to the next generation of IP, which I'm referring to as the digital IP in coming years.
Yeah, I guess after listening to what you said, it clearly defines that what is the role of IT in intellectual property, and it plays a really crucial role, and especially when we are at the cusp of digital transformation and where everything is shifting to a digital mode. It's very important that intellectual property also embraces technologies and make sure that it's effective in delivering its core value and services. So since I'm talking about its core value, so the one of the fundamental goals of IP system have always encouraged new technologies and creative works, and to create a sustainable economic basis for invention as well as creation. So if you consider from a purely financial perspective, if other aims of the IP system such as just revolve and moral rights are set aside, there is no reason not to use IP to reward AI generated inventions and creations. So, how would you define, or we would like to know which are the enabling IT technologies which have seen implementation in intellectual property?
I mean, IP has fairly embraced the different IT technologies. I have personally seen a lot of tools coming up with different technologies. But if I have to talk about the enabling IT technologies, I'll categorize them into two broad categories that are helping in curbing inefficiencies across the IP practices. The first one is automation, which is services that are fully automated, and second one is augmentation. Under automation, there are different technologies like AI-enabled document processing, hyper-automation for document processing, where you process the documents based on a workflow. There are advanced natural language processing algorithms. There are advanced natural language generation algorithms that can help you draft applications quickly. There are different RPA-based automation techniques that can help you automate the complete process, right from filing to managing the docket to responding to the responses that are coming from the PTOs. So these are the technologies which will impact in the scheduling activities, in a form preparation, filing form preparation activities, in how the client are managing their dockets and how IDs are being managed. So these are the things which will be fully automated with help of these technologies. Now there is a second part of it which is augmentation. Why I refer to it as augmentation, because those activities are in near future, at least what I perceive, they're not going to be fully automated. They have to have some part where human intervention would be required. So these the technologies like deep learning and machine learning based models, digital data warehouse, which we keep on talking about, and helping the big data analytics to generate insights from this big data, distributed ledger technology or blockchain based technologies. So these technologies are going to ease the process of more complex processes like searching, finding a right prior art, doing patent analytics, classifying the patents into right buckets, doing a freedom to operate search, infringement analysis, identifying the patents based on a category. I mean, doing patent monitoring on a regular scale. So these projects are right now being serviced by IP analysts, and with these technologies, some part of it would be automated, and those would be augmenting the human effort, and humans can put right effort in the right direction, which is high dollar value effort, where you need more strategic inputs or more human like intelligence. So we already have a very encouraging landscapes of IP tools. I mean, if I talk about different aspects of IP, right from creating IP to searching and analyzing the patents or concepts and then managing the portfolios, we have seen different tools coming in different at different positions. If I talk about create, there are different tools or very advanced tools that can help you auto generate the patent drafts. They can help you create the boilerplates. They can help you create the do the claim mirroring, generate flowchart. They can generate the flow chart descriptions, and also there are very good tools in proofreading area where you have those can bring more consistency and accuracy in your drafts. In searching also, we have already seen a lot of tools, AI based tools that can help you find the right prior art for you. Under manage, we have seen a lot of advanced docket system that can automate the complete process and remove the manual dependencies. They are very customizable. They are real time connected to your portfolio, and you can play around with it with these. So we have seen a very encouraging landscapes of these tools coming into the IP tech space. And I wish that these tools, once it is being more tested and more adapted, they will evolve to the next level where a lot of our IP processes, which are very much effort intensive, would be eased, and we would see a lot of improvement in those processes.
Definitely, I completely agree with you, Sumit, that we are yet to see a lot of technologies that will shape the current scenario and as well as the future of IP. And probably that would be something that we are yet to witness. So initially, I think we should just more embrace the current technologies and the benefits that they are offering, and making people aware of those technologies and making them understand the difference that they are creating in the system, in the intellectual property system. We're talking about implementation of technology in the IP space, but there are several IP offices around the world who have developed and deployed other AI applications. For example, in May 2018, WIPO convened a meeting to discuss the AI applications specifically, and to foster the exchange of information and the sharing of such applications. So the organization will continue to use its convening power and position as the international organization responsible for IP policy to continue this exchange and foster more deployment of AI. So, since we're talking about more about how Sagacious IP is creating and contributing in the industry of IP, we also want to know that what are the benefits that usually companies can derive through Sagacious IT for IP program.
Well, from my experience, I can say one thing, that there is no one size fit all solution in IP tech, especially in IP industry, and hence most of the IP tech tools that are there, or even the initiatives that are being taken by WIPO, World Intellectual Property of Organization, or different PTOs, they are targeted on a specific IP practice. If they are talking about searching, they will focus on that particular service itself. So most of the IP tech tools are targeting those specific IP practices, and trying to automate and improve these processes ground up, so that we have a bigger platform in time to come. Sagacious, if I talk about Sagacious IT for IP initiative, we offer IP tech solutions built on these custom technologies, cutting edge industry 4.0 IT frameworks. And under these technology frameworks, we have distributed our services as under three broad verticals. The first one is custom IT development. Under this custom IT development vertical, we offer to build custom IT solutions for you, so that you can automate various processes that were earlier defined by you for your practices. And if you have a solution, you should not adapt to a new solution, rather customize the tool itself to meet your requirements. So we provide unique solutions to each problem, and since we are in the industry for past 13 years, so we understand the problems pretty well, and we can develop a custom solution for you. And that's very important, and that's one of the benefits that our customers are already getting from us. Reason being, they don't have to educate us on IP matters. They just need to educate on their problem statements. They want to share their problem statements, and we understand the IP requirements, and we can translate that IP requirement into IT requirement. And usually we get requests from our IP clients only, who are looking for a software development team that understands IP end to end and can help develop the tool that they want. So that is one area where companies can derive benefit from us. The second vertical that we have is tool consulting, where we kind of it's again a service-based vertical where we try to help and educate people about different tools that are already available in the market. So we help them brainstorm on their requirement, and then based on their parameters, what are the tools that could benefit them. So that is another initiative where we consult our clients on which tool they should onboard and how they should integrate them within their system. And then the last and but not one of the most important vertical is building proprietary tools and products for IP community. So there we have picked some niche IP problems, and we are trying to build some solutions that could be used by the whole IP community, and probably in years to come, we would also have some tools that can solve those specific problems with ease, and and the greater and the community can be benefited out of it.
Definitely. I think we are more looking at the overall benefits that the community can receive with the integration of technologies in the IP space. But on the other hand, data and algorithms raise several fundamental IP-related questions, like how one creates property rights in an algorithm that is continuously changing. Now, demand for IP rights continues to surpass economic growth rates across the globe. Now, IP system is not certainly going out of trend. It's going to be there, but it is being used more than ever. But similarly, we have new challenges that are emerging, and the result may be an additional layer of IP instead of replacing the existing system. That is what experts have been talking about. So we would want to know how different Sagacious IP is, what makes your company innovative, and are there any key partnerships or involvement done to drive the innovation?
If you talk about the innovation, the way we operate itself is innovative. I mean, we leverage the in-depth knowledge of IP experts. We have a team of 300 IP experts to translate that IP requirement into the IT requirement. We have also partnered with different players like Amplified, Fast Science, Hooks, House of Knowledge, etc., to improve our offerings from the product point of view. And the way we have positioned it, the IT for IP program, that itself adds a lot of value to our customers, because they don't have to worry about their IP nuances. They know that most of our customers are repeat customers from our service industry. So those customers, they know that we understand the IP processes well. It's just that we need to add a top layer of IT that can ease some of the processes. They can add value to the processes and make more value out of the services that we are offering to them. Further, in last year during pandemic in 2020, we also felt that there is a need of a platform to facilitate common dialogue among the IP tech researchers and the developers, so that they can collaborate and come up with more innovative solutions. To help this, we are coming up with an IP tool hub platform. This is an online repository of IP tech softwares. We have done a extensive landscape research to identify all the tools that are already there, or all the effort that is being put up to build custom tools and products in this space, and listed them on this platform so that the end users can get benefit out of it. So this will be launched soon in the month of July 2021, and this is a collaboration platform. Again, it's a community-based platform where people can come and review the tools. They can share their opinion and their experiences about the tool. So this is another effort in the direction of making this IP tech more accessible to the end users, and how people can get benefit out of it, more benefit out of it.
Sounds quite interesting, Sumit, and thank you for sharing that with our listeners. But also, I would like to know that I think in the last 2 years, Sagacious IP has been able to support its global customers in adopting latest technologies as well as building subscription-based products that help customers save time and cost on various processes. And I think since you're talking about the IP tools directly that probably are going to launch in July 2021, there's just so much happening around in this space with Sagacious IP playing a very crucial role. With so many AI and other tech-based tools and products revolutionizing and shaping the future of IP industry, we believe that such a directory is a big need for all the potential users. So can you elaborate more on the benefits of this directory and how it is going to underlying fundamentals that can help the IP community gain benefits out of it?
Yeah, yes, this is as I told you, this is a platform where we are kind of listing all the tools, and we strongly believe that this industry has all it needs to keep the ball of IP tech rolling. The only push that is necessary now is customer engagement and how we adapt to rule. If I have to check for any, online PDF converter, I can directly go to Google and look at different converters. If I have to talk about, look into any software, a specific problem software, I can go and find it. But in case of IP Tech, we still need such a platform which can help customers reach to the right tool and then adapt it so that they can use it in their current scenario, and also provide feedback back to the tool provider so that they can improve it on other exceptions and scenarios which are left out. And this is the only reason why customers of IP industry need such kind of an awareness, and they need this kind of a platform where this kind of information is available readily for them. IP Tool Hub, as I said, it's an intuitive platform where we have identified and tagged more than 500 tools that are active in this space, and we have kind of tagged them across a taxonomy based on the purpose it serves and based on the technology it is using at the back end. Based on these two level of taxonomies, the users would be able to find the right tool based on the right platform. And these IP focused taxonomies that we have built are using the terminologies that we use in IP industry day to day, so that it's not a very generalized taxonomy or generalized language that are terms that we have used. It's more specific to IP, so you can reach to the right tool which is providing the right solution for that particular problem. So this at the launch phase, the basic features would include search and searching capabilities based on these parameters, and on top of it, we also have some collaboration features like rating, reviews, so that we can make the end users and all the developer exchange their thoughts on the platform. And yeah, so that is it. That is something which we are trying to roll out as soon as possible, and as the community grows, and if we have more feedback, we would try to incorporate them in the platform itself.
Absolutely. I think we would also like to witness the directory and truly understand the benefits that it would be offering to the community. But since we're talking about IP and the integration of technologies and the benefits that it brings, every coin has two sides, and the flip side is whether AI can own IP or it can infringe IP. So if an AI machine can generate subject matter, who will be held responsible if that subject matter violates third-party IP? The issue that arises here is copyright infringement requires actual copying. Now, the author of the infringement work must have had access to the work protected by the copyright. So in the case of an AI machine that is expected to have access to everything on the internet, the trouble of showing that the infringer had access to the protective work might be much easier to overcome. Now, this is probably one challenge that I'm talking about when we're integrating AI or any other technologies in the IP or IP space. So we would also like to know, were there any other challenges that the company has faced till now, and how have you guys tried to overcome them?
The challenge that you were talking about, whether an AI could be barred with the knowledge that exclusivity of the information. I mean, that is, I'll not go in that subject because that's a very deep subject. And if we start talking about it, it will take another half an hour to cover it, because that's something which allows a machine to go into. And right now also we have systems in place, and everything is digital. So AI is nothing but a algorithm developed by humans that can process some of the unstructured information. So with that definition, I mean, there are different repercussions about whether AI can be regarded as an inventor or not, because I regard it as a tool, as a processing tool, because that is being created by humans. But different philosophers have different opinion about it. So, but talking about the challenges of integrating AI or IT in IP, the biggest challenge for these tools or these softwares that we are talking about is the nature of data itself. In IP industry, the data that we deal with is more contextual, it's text intensive, and it's continuously evolving. Every day, millions of patents are being filed. A lot of copyright certificates are generated. A lot of trademarks are being filed. Word marks are being generated. So the data itself is so subjective that we have a different set of challenges there. With digitalization and accumulation of all this big data in a digital format, AI, as I said, is becoming a common processing term due to obvious reason, due to its capability to perform some of the tasks like visual perception, text processing, making decisions, some logical decisions, contextual based matchmaking, which is another huge benefit that we get from having AI as a processing unit, natural language processing, language translations. So these are some of the capabilities that allow AI to be a more suitable processing term for the patent data that we are talking about, for the IP data that we are talking about. AI has progressed rapidly over the last couple of years, and even in IP industry, it has a good presence. Though it still has a long way to match the multi-dimension of the human intelligence, it still has allowed IP professionals to shift their focus to more strategic tasks and make quick use of all the data around them in more structured and intelligent manner. So that is, if we can understand the data well, I mean, most of the challenges that we are facing right now would be curbed out. Another important roadblock, I would not say it's a challenge, it's a roadblock. Why I called it roadblock is because of the nature of humans. I mean, if users are not willing to accept these tools, we would not see improvement in this space. So this is another roadblock, that we need to have higher customer acceptance, and with the promising results that these tools can offer, we are already reaching to the critical masses who are ready to adapt this, you are ready to test it out, try it out. However, it would be exciting to see a widespread adoption of these tools, and looping all that feedback that could be generated back into the system, so that the system can learn, and it has enhanced learning. So if we have more flexible adoption, I mean, we can see a rapid growth or rapid change in these the way software work, these IP tech software works today.
Definitely. I think when we're talking about technology, many people are skeptical, specifically when you're talking about AI, that it's gonna replace a lot of jobs. It has a lot of negative side effects. When you're talking about ethical AI, so a lot of controversies are surrounded around AI. But I think since we are growing in an era where technology is growing, developing each day, it's better that we start creating awareness about the deployment of these technologies, and especially helping companies understand the benefits that AI can bring. Nonetheless, irrespective of any industry, and try to maximize the benefits, but also try to make sure that there are no unethical implications of the same technology. Um, so that brings me to my last question, and that would be, what are your views on the future technology in intellectual property?
As I said, we are already halfway by breaking the ice and starting to use these tools for improved IP processes. We have already seen some good signs of what the results are and how tools can be helpful in our day-to-day activities. In some areas like prior art searching, the adoption is already happening now, and it's going to accelerate even more in next 12 months or in a couple of years. You talked about WIPO summit, and there was another survey created by done by WIPO, where when they asked what are their key focus areas for coming years, all the PTOs were already looking to adapt AI for prior art searching and to enhance the results set that they are that they are identifying through their manual searches. Similarly, blockchain has already seen a lot of implementation in patents, and I'm really excited to see what more blockchain can support in terms of IP marketplace, in terms of how the copyright industry is working, because you can give a legitimate a ledger, a certificate which could be challenged anywhere in the industry in the world. There are different legislation changes in India, in different countries, where they have started recognizing blockchain based evidences in the legal proceedings as well. So that's again a very good indication. So I think there is a very bright future ahead for IP, and we just need to embrace it. We just need to start adapting it. And as we adapt more, we will see more benefits that we can derive out of it. Another aspect that I would like to quickly touch upon is the cost saving. I expect that the cost saving is also going to derive the adoption here. Initially, the cost saving could be small to start with, maybe perhaps 10 to 20%, in the range of 10 to 20%. However, as it would grow larger over the time, it could be even 40 to 50% or even more as cost of the tool declines, adoption increases, and the familiarity of the tools start improving, and people are more familiar to use it. I'm hopeful that this segment of IP tech would evolve with time, and all the members of IP community will have to gain from this evolution.
Absolutely. I think, of course, there's an obvious thing that there's a massive gap between a ground reality and existing regulations, with too many challenges brought on by AI. But today, if we consider, IBM has the largest portfolio of AI-related patent applications, with around 8,290 patent applications in the world, followed by Microsoft with 5,930 patent applications. Now, this is huge. This is massive. So, with the increasing popularity of AI-related inventions and the sheer volume of AI-related patent applications being filed, it will be up to the patent officers and regulators to revise existing patent systems and laws, and create a flexible environment which fits into the emerging technology space. Well, thank you so much, Sumit. It was a pleasure having you with us. I think we have touched on some important aspects and a different industry altogether, which is very least talked about. So thank you for giving such valuable insights to our listeners. I wish that our listeners enjoy the same. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you with us on the podcast.
Thanks, Priya. Pleasure talking to you.
Great. So for our listeners, stay tuned for more podcasts. Also, we are on Spotify and Google Podcasts, so you can head to our Spotify channel and view our past podcasts as well.